Hello and welcome to Cedar Creek Homestead. Welcome to Porch Talk, another episode of Porch Talk, and a time when I just sitting here taking it easy for just a few minutes and do a quick talk here of what's going on. This week's subject is about how to deal with isolation. And as you know, we've been asked as a country to self-isolate, self-quarantine, whatever you want to call it. But basically, stay away from groups of 10 or more. And what that really means is you stay with just your little family group. Don't go do family outings. Don't go to church. Don't go out to eat. Don't go to casinos. Don't go to whatever it is that you regularly do. And that's kind of tough. And I've had a few people tell me they were having a rough time with that. We're still working, me and my son. We do heating and air conditioning, refrigeration repairs, and that's considered vital. Plus we do the farm here. But as I go out to some people's house, especially elderly, they're kind of glad to see somebody. Some of them are used to going to the community center, and we're practicing not shaking hands, staying 6 foot apart, even especially the elderly, doing all we can to be sanitary, using hand sanitizer, washing our hands, doing all we can to try to keep, you're supposed to keep from touching your face too, and here I am touching my mustache and wiping my face. But anyway, I guess since it's my own germs and I've been out here, I don't think none of my cows or anything has it, so I'll be pretty safe. But anyway, doing what we can to protect ourselves from what I call the Kung Flu, and also to protect others. You don't want other people getting it because of you, and some people, I guess, could be silent carriers, they call it. So we're doing all we can. But how you self-isolate, and we're used to it. I love being out here. I wished I could stay here all the time, never had to go anywhere, and that I could just go to town maybe once a month like my grandparents did and all that. But I still have to work for a living. I would like to make a living off the homestead, and I am developing and working on ideas and things. It's one thing I do, the YouTube. I'm not really doing it for money right now, although I am getting some money, a little money. It ain't much, but from YouTube I've gotten some deposits, and enough that it's paid for my GoPro cameras and my tripods and stuff. But as my membership or subscribers grow, it puts you into other brackets where you can have memberships, you can sell t-shirts, you can sell whatever. And maybe I'll be to that point one of these days and could maybe make money off of it. But right now, and even then, I want to keep it as a hobby. This is something fun to me. But it's a way for folks, they say there's a bunch of traffic going on the internet right now because people are staying home. They're watching these videos, all kinds of videos on YouTube. They're watching more Facebook, and they say the video quality could be poor because so many people are uploading videos and things. But right now it's a time I get to share what we're doing out here, and I've watched some of you aren't even mentioning that anything about this. You for whatever reason, it's not even on your radar, and that's fine. But we have here we're isolating pretty much. Now I know I'm still working. We're not going to church, not being in any groups of 10 or more. I have gone to Tractor Supply or Farm Store and to Atwood's and to the Farmers Co-op. Those were areas that I had to go to get supplies. But I noticed that there is a lot of people going to those places. And I think a lot of people, because they're home and they're isolated, are going to get into gardening. Also because there's foods ran out at the stores and they're running short. Now that's all coming back. Everything's going to be fine in that area for right now. But if you've heard me at all, we try to be prepared and stay prepared. So over time you build up your reserves and get things going so that when things like this come, you don't even have to go to the store. But I've had several people tell me that they're going to the store, stuff's out, and they're having trouble. So I think what's happening, we noticed that the Tractor Supply and Atwood's, especially Tractor Supply, was busy, and people buying plants and things. The Farmers Co-op store, I was down there yesterday and bought garden seeds, and the boy that worked in there waited on me. He said, we were busy this morning. He said, we have been selling gobs of seeds, and they have bulk seeds and they put them in little envelopes themselves. So they buy like 50 pounds of bush type green beans, or 50 pounds of Boston picklers, whatever, big bags of them, or however big they come. Some of their bags I've seen there are like 50-pound bags. Some of them are like maybe a 5-pound bag. But they separate out the seeds and mark on the little bag what they are, and they sell them, and it's a pretty reasonable price. Most of their seeds are 99 cents, and you get a good amount of seeds in a little bag for 99 cents. So anyhow, they said they usually have the whole back wall just full of seeds. Well, they're selling out, and they still got seeds. The reason I'm telling you this is, if you're isolated, this would be a good time to start a garden. Go in your backyard. If you got flower beds, did you know you could grow things in your flower beds, and you can make it look eye-appealing? Tomatoes, stuff like that. My mom, she lives out in the country, but she doesn't grow a big garden anymore, don't have chickens or nothing. But around in some of her flower beds, she grows edible stuff like tomatoes, cucumbers, lettuces, stuff like that. And you really wouldn't even know it because it kind of matches in the greenery and stuff. But she's got a neat thing going. And she don't raise a lot, but what little bit she does raise comes in handy. But she has lots of flowers. I was like, if she put as much effort into all the flowers in her big old yard, I mean, she keeps it looking like a park there. It's just beautiful the way she keeps it going. But if she'd put that kind of effort into growing vegetables, she wouldn't have to go to the store much for vegetables. And she's kind of a health nut anyway with eating proper and all that stuff. But anyhow, there's things you could do to get busy with something. Maybe you've worked a whole bunch all your life. It's like me. I've worked all of my life, and if I had to just totally set here somewhere where I couldn't go out and do anything, but here, because we're out in the country, I can get out and do stuff. So I'm always working around here. Even without this, I'm working out here trying to do stuff. I don't have enough time to get done what I want to get done. But if I was self-isolating where I couldn't get out and do much, I would think of things to do, and I'd watch YouTube videos and learn how to do things. But this self-isolating, and as far as we're concerned, we got plenty of food. We're doing great. We're feeling good. There's not many cases around here in this area. People are taking it serious, though, because we don't want it to spread here. And our governor issued a deal a few days ago where I think it's 21 days additional in any county that has, if you have one case of the Kung flu, then they're going to make you go 21 days. And they want the elderly till sometime the end of April, I think it is, to quarantine themselves. It's a voluntary thing. Now on the businesses and the 21-day thing, it's like a governor mandated. But there's some neat things happening. It's something I never thought would happen. Our governor is having had a like a worship service, church service with some folks on the internet. So they didn't have to gather in a big bunch. They had that, but they got it streamed in there, and you could tune in like at 6 o'clock last night and watch this. And I'm sure, I haven't seen if it's recorded where you could watch reruns of it, but I'm sure it probably is. But our governor calling for a day of prayer and a day of getting a hold of God. And I was like, well, when have you heard this in a long time? And the governor actually taking participation in it is something. But he wanted all the restaurants, and we had 19 counties when he issued it that had cases of the Kung flu, and now there's more, but it's small. And I want to say something about this too while I have it on this subject, because some folks are watching the news, and the news, it seems like, is wanting to spread panic and fear. First off, I seen them yesterday. I don't like it when they criticize our leaders and the news media. It's one thing if one politician criticizes another, but even on that, I think they need to be careful. But I guarantee you, everybody's got opinions. It's like backsides. Everybody's got one. But one thing that I want to say about this was that they're saying, well, we have just grown so quick with more cases than any other country, and we're doing it. They told us that once the testing got started, the number of cases was going to go up. The governor of Arkansas had a special press conference. He said, we're getting set up where we can do a bunch of testing. We feel there's a bunch of people got it. The cases are going to go up. We're testing more in our country pretty much than any other country's done. They have really escalated this thing. But one thing I want to say about that is don't be afraid and scared and run around just scared to death. If you listen to the news, it might be a good thing to turn off some of the news. But I would listen to the president gives a briefing every day, and our governor's been given one. Listen to your leaders, what they're telling you to do. But our government, the federal government especially, our state is kind of like this too. But they're like a big locomotive freight train trying to get started. And when it first starts, it's really slow, trying to ramp up steam and get things going. Once they get up to speed, they do pretty good. But you see this in the way we respond to everything. We've gotten so big, and with FEMA and all the different agencies involved, it's almost like they're too big. And if you've ever worked for a big company, a big corporate company, you'll find that they're slow to respond. And some companies have worked on that and tried to develop it quicker, but they're kind of slow. So anyway, our government's slow to respond. Now they're doing gobs of testing, and you've got drive-through testing and stuff. And so they're finding a bunch of people, and they thought this would be the case. A lot of people probably had it. A lot of the other parts of the world have not tested like we have. I don't think they've had the capability. They're not getting there. So yeah, the cases have went up. We're going to see some more cases. But I think we're going to see overall it start going back down. And I'm going to tell you the reason. Every week here, the reason my ideology, I'm not a doctor, not a scientist, but the reason I think the cases are going down, our health department gives a briefing every week on the number of Kung flu cases. They're also given a number of flu cases. Now, flu season here is sort of coming to an end. But they said that the flu cases that are being reported, people tested and that's showing positive for the flu, has went way down here in our state. I don't know if that's everywhere, but it is here. I contribute some of that because we're warming up. But they also say the warmer weather will help dissipate the Kung flu virus. But anyway, the health department people said what they think the reason the flu virus is going down. We still have a lot more flu than we have of the Kung flu virus, just regular old-fashioned flu virus. So, but they're saying the reason is because people started washing their hands, they're social distancing, staying 6 foot apart. They're doing what they've been asked to do, and that has caused the flu to go down too. So this may be something we need to do for the future, is to be more careful. I know the churches around here, they have closed down, but they're doing really neat things. They're having services on the internet. The pastor and maybe a couple of people will come in and do some singing and preaching, and they'll have church, and all the church can watch. Some churches aren't into that, so they've went and had, and I'm telling you this so that if you're one that's at home and you can't go anywhere, look for alternative means. If you've never looked into Facebook, check in some of that. But they'll go in and do videos, and in their congregation to watch. And churches that don't do it, that haven't gotten into this stuff, and it's so easy now, everybody should be getting into it. But the ones that ain't, they're telling their parishioners, saying, hey, go watch this church. They're having a video, watch them Sunday. But it's great to see how people are responding to this. I am so thankful for our churches, for our preachers, for our folks that are getting together. And I've had folks tell me that they just stayed home Sunday, didn't go to church, and they had a wonderful time just on their own. They said, now we want to go to church. Don't get us wrong. We want to get back into our church. We love our church. We miss our church folks. But they said, we had such a wonderful time just praying. And some group families got together and, maybe they have a brother or sister live down the road, or aunt and uncle, whatever, and they get together. The group's less than 10, and they're being very careful if anybody, make sure nobody's sick, doing what they can. But they get a little small group together. Somebody gets a guitar, gets on the piano. They sing some worship songs unto the Lord, and they have a little sermon or a devotional or whatever, and some that's never done anything like that before are participating, and some that they have not had anything to do with religion are interested, so they're getting involved. But it is a very unique and neat time, and a good time of opportunity. We can take something, and God does this, God can take something that's bad and turn it in for good. And I'm excited. I think it's going to end up being, we're going to end up coming out of this thing very well. but it's a time to take heed and do what we can, and especially if you're self-isolating, you're not getting out at all. You can't go to work. You can't even work from home. You're just out there. You're going to, if you apply for unemployment, they're going to send you help. We're all supposed to get these checks. Hey, ain't that wonderful? But while you got the opportunity, make the best use of it. While you're isolating, study up on gardening. Do what you can. Get closer to God. Start preparing. Maybe you're going to have to be a prepper because you can't grow a garden. Maybe you can't do a whole lot of storage in your home, but you can do a little bit. Just, you don't need a whole lot of stuff. I don't tell people just go out and go crazy. I know people that's got 2 or 3 years worth of food and water and stuff put back, and that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong with what I'm saying. If you can do that, fine. But a lot of people can't do that. But almost everybody could have a month's worth of rations put back just in case. And right now, my sister come over this week, and I shared that on another video, but I couldn't hug her. It seems strange. I've always hugged my sister when I see her. All of my sisters. My brother, I'll shake his hand. Sometimes we even hug. But we can't do that with people right now because of this. We're doing this social distancing, but she come out here. She lives a pretty good, not real far, but like 15 miles away, and she called and said eggs were over $3 a dozen and wondered if we had any extra eggs. She'd buy eggs from us if we wanted. I said, no, you don't owe us nothing for the eggs. We don't sell our eggs, and we got plenty, or my wife told her this, said, we got plenty of eggs. Come on out. So she come out, and she said, if you don't want me coming in your home or don't want to be around us, me and my husband said, just put them on the porch and we'll just get them. So when they showed up, we were on the porch, and we said, y'all come out and sit down. We'll be social distancing. And it's just me and my wife and her and her husband, and we got to visit, and it was so good. We didn't get to hug, though. And I was like, that's the first time ever I think that I've not got to hug my sister. We'll not even get close, and it seems weird. But at least we got to visit. But did you know with Facebook, and maybe you're a slow learner like me, but you can do a live feed with each other? And you can actually, if somebody, not Facebook, but just on your phone. Now, you don't have to be Facebook. We have on our phone, my son works with me, and sometimes he'll run into something that he's having a little trouble with, and he can actually take his phone and show me a live video to my phone, and we can talk back and forth. So there's all kinds of ways to visit with folks. So maybe you got loved ones, friends that you're not getting to see. I got an aunt down here that has cancer, and she's been treatments and stuff, and she's really gotten sick, lost weight, lost her hair and stuff, but she's getting better. But they have told her to be very strict quarantine, and she's doing that. And so she's had to come up with alternative ways because she can't even see her grandchildren. And her children are not letting the grandchildren go around because they're afraid that if the children had something, they would make Grandma sick. And they love Grandma, but it's rough on her because she can't. But they're coming up with ways trying to interact with her through different means so that she's not all alone. The other day they cleaned up the yard, and she sat at the window, the storm window with the screen up, and was able to watch them and was able to talk to them out there and still be isolated. And but they've told her that her immune system's so weak that she could die. If she even getting the flu could kill her. So she's being very careful, and the family wants her to stay around. And it's kind of sad times that we're in that has to happen. But there's creative ways that we can do things, and there's creative ways we can do to be prepared for the next time. It's not a if something else is going to happen. It's just a matter of when. And as I shared last week on Porch Talk, the last 3 years we have gone through something here. Actually, really the last 4 years. We went through a year of drought. We went through a year of fire. We went through a year of massive flooding last year. Now this year we have this pandemic we're dealing with. So we're going through tough times, so getting prepared and doing what we can. My wife had some bottles of hand sanitizer stored back. And not a bunch, but she had some. And that was so good because the stores around here ran out of something, and she had some cans of, maybe 6 cans of Lysol put back. Well, everybody sold out of Lysol, so we already had ours put back. We didn't have to run out and hoard up other people. She just buys it slowly when she's at the store, and if she buys one, sometimes she'll buy 2 and put 1 back. And we've just slowly invested in ourselves. And then my sister come, she's wanted beans. She said she had been craving a pot of pinto beans. She said, I'd like to cook a whole pot of beans. But she said there's no beans. And anywhere they'd went to different stores looking for some supplies. And she said she wasn't going to pay $3 a dozen for eggs. They're kind of, I hope she don't mind me sharing this. Nobody knows who this is, but all of my sisters probably. But this one, she's having a little trouble money-wise, her and her husband, and things are kind of tight. And you know, just things like it is for everybody. But she said, I hate to pay $3 a dozen what they wanted for eggs. And then she said that they didn't have any beans. And so my wife said, hey, I got an extra bag of beans. And we have 2 or 3 bags of beans put back. And something else we do, this is something you may think about, we buy about once a year a bag of pinto beans at Sam's. And they come in a 50-pound bag. And we'll divide it up into 2 5-gallon buckets. Well, that'll last you all year. I mean, unless you just really eat a lot of beans, that's plenty of beans. They're pinto beans. They last. We put them in these buckets that you can buy that's got this little lid that seals real tight. But also, my wife usually has just a bag or 2 put back because my wife will take out of them buckets and she cans them in quart jars so they're already cooked. And so when she has a little extra time, she'll can, you know, a dozen jars of pinto beans that's ready. So if we want chili, we just get these that's already cooked. You can dump them in a pot, warm them up good, add your chili seasonings and meat, and you got your chili done. And then you don't have to wait for the pot of beans to cook. She just cooked a pot of beans a few days ago, a fresh pot on the stove. Sure enough, fresh, you know, dried beans, and put some bacon grease or ham or something in there. I mean, you talk about a treat. That is like hog heaven for me. But anyway, because we had an extra bag, we don't have enough to give to everybody. We'd run out, but we have a little bit extra that we were able to share. And you know, if you cook a big pot of beans on the stove, you can keep reheating that over and over and last you a few days. And that's another thing. While you're isolated and food short, don't waste food. Don't do dumb stuff with it. Nothing here goes to waste. And if we don't eat it, we'll feed it to the animals. If it's something the animals won't eat, or I feel like they won't, like meat scraps, we have dogs that we eat those. Vegetables and stuff like that we'll throw in the compost pile, and our chickens can go into the compost bin and scratch that up and stuff. So we don't let stuff go to waste. But be creative in this time and take care of yourself. And hey, I hope this helps you with dealing with isolation. I've kind of went around like I'm chasing a rabbit in circles and with this today, but I hope it will encourage you and help you. And we got bright days ahead if we'll use common sense. Keep our heads about us. Get close to God, close to our families. Do what we can. We're going to make it through this thing, and we're going to come out better for it on the other side. I appreciate you watching today. Appreciate you watching Porch Talk. If you're not a subscriber, would you hit the subscribe button? And after you do, there'll be a little bell pop up there to the side of the subscribe. Click on that, and that's a notification bell. It will notify you every time I put up a video. If you like my videos, if you don't do it. But if you do, we would love to have you, and I'd love to have your subscription, because the more subscribers we have, the more people that hit the thumbs up button, the more people that comment, the more it helps our channel to grow. And, you know, it don't cost you nothing, just a subscription. Click the up button, and many of you do, and I'm going to tell you thank you very much. You're helping grow our channel. I'm trying to grow this and do the best I can. I'm learning as I go and trying to do all I can. But anyway, I sure appreciate you watching today. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. We're gone.